prepared for this revolution?
The educational system?
The educational system
No
of developing
way.
countries.
No, the education.
Not prepared at all.
The educational.
We have to change
I
it.
don't know your system, but I
Yeah.
bet it's not very different from our system. Okay.
Do you have to memorize things
Wait a
and
minute.
take
Our-
tests that are yes and no?
Our system,
It's the same.
which is the same in Japan, and it's the same in Korea, and it's the same in many countries. There are some differences, but basically they're the same. And the best way to understand what our public education system is to go back to how it got started. In the 1800s in the United States, you had most young people were children of farmers. They worked in the fields. And when somebody proposed that America institute a system of public education for all young people, the parents of the poor parents said, no, we can't allow our kids to go to school. They need to work, otherwise we starve. We don't have enough hands to work in the fields. So they opposed public education. The people who favored it were wealthy, and the people who made it happen were business. In the late 1800s, the business community said, you know what? All these kids are coming into the factory, but they're coming from the farms, and they're not good factory workers. You know what? They come late to work. You can't count on them. They're not good.
At harvest time, they stay home.
What we need, they said, and these are the actual words that they used in English, you translate them, quote, we want a system that will create, quote, industrial discipline, end quote. What was industrial discipline? Industrial discipline meant you showed up on time, and you did the same work again and again and again and again, just as you did on an assembly line.
And you could read the sign that says, don't put your hand in the machine.
Yeah. What happened was we designed schools that actually resemble the factory. If you look at our schools even today, they simulate factories. Kids have to arrive on time. Why is that? Because in the field, if you come late, it doesn't matter much. Your Uncle Charlie can, fill in for you for a few minutes.
And the bells ring to
But-
tell you when the class
But
ends and the next one
if
begins.
you, as one person, comes late to the assembly line, you might have 1,000 workers standing by doing nothing, waiting for this function to be done before they can work. So the cost of the workers coming late is extremely expensive.
And the teacher's up front, and the teacher's the
Now,
boss.
so now you train
That's-
children.
yeah. That's to train you
You
for
have
your-
to arrive on time. You have to be at school at a fixed time. And in the U.S., we have many, many thousands, hundreds of thousands of kids who are taken by bus to the schools. They have yellow buses. Well, they're preparing the children to commute to work in the factory. Now, what's happening now? More and more people aren't working like that. They're working at home, or they work at different hours, strange hours, and so forth. And you don't need everybody showing up at exactly the same time. So what we have are schools that were literally designed to provide the workforce for an industrial age economy. And they do that very well, but that's not the kind of economy that we have anymore. And therefore, the entire system is obsolete. And I was waiting for years. I mean, I've been saying this, both with Heidi and I have been making this speech for years and years and years, but we were waiting for Bill Gates to say something. And about 2 years ago, he finally said the right words. He said, we cannot reform our education system, we must replace it. And he is right, because the system is designed, as I said, to prepare people for yesterday, not for tomorrow. Now, that's an extremely difficult and painful thing to do. You have millions in the U.S., millions of people working in the schools, teachers and other people, and it's very dangerous in terms of they may lose jobs. This doesn't mean the teachers are bad. My sister's a teacher. I don't hate her because she's a teacher, but the system she's working in is a disaster today, and therefore we're going to see battles about education in country after country after country until this system is broken and replaced.
We've been going to Japan for 38 years, and for 38 years, the Japanese have been saying they want their children to be creative. And we always got questions about how you can change education to make kids more creative and innovative and so on. But they keep the school system exactly the same, or they even intensify it, because they have cram schools, and kids start going to cram school for calculus when they're 11 years old. And we were just there about a month and a half ago, and they've just decided that the Indian schools, so now they're starting kindergartens and first grade and second grade based on the Indian method, which is to keep the kids in school for 11 hours a day, and the multiplication table, which is we just learned 1 and 10
The memory,
yeah.
to memorize.
The Indian schools teach them 100 times, multiplication tables that go up to 100 times 100. And this is what they consider being more creative. So it's hopeless.
That's the point.
But you need to teach kids to think. And how do you teach them to think?
So their idea of having a better education system is doing more of the same,
yeah.
only longer and longer
Intensifying it.
hours, instead of changing what they're doing.